said, Dr. Jensen, that's what she's always asking for. And he said, well, she's following her natural cravings. And then Dr. Jensen looked at me and he said, my dear, tell me, what do you crave? I said, Dr. Jensen, I don't eat what I crave. I eat what's on sale. So I usually eat bananas. And Dr. Jensen was the first one in my life who told me, this is so wrong. You cannot do that. Your body is your temple. Imagine you build in a beautiful temple or even just a house, and your contractor is coming to you and he says, Victoria, I need 42 by 4s and they have to be 12 feet long. Can you tell him, hey, the windows are on sale? Oh, how about copper conduits instead? He will not build a house. He'll build a crooked house for you. So I started to keep this in mind, and when I went back to the store, I was standing there and I thought, what do I want? And my body proudly answered, coffee and donuts. Well, and then it took me years before I really figured out what to eat. It took me years because I was not properly educated when I was a child. Now I know that whatever is addictive, which is cooked food, is all addictive, and we'll talk about this in our second part of the day today. But cooked food, I know, is addictive, and whatever is addictive wants to come back. It pushes out everything else. If we have $2 and we could buy donut or just a croissant, or we could buy mango, we would always choose croissant because it will satisfy addiction. Mango will not satisfy addiction. You cannot be addicted to mangoes or cucumbers or bananas. So the first rule is to keep addiction out of the picture. If you stay 100% raw, then addiction is out of the picture, and in magic time, 2 months, it's 60 days, when we stop feeling craving for addiction, for addictive substance, we begin to crave from the frame of raw food. We suddenly begin to crave things that are legal to eat on raw food diet. And I've seen people who begin to crave very interesting things, weird things sometimes, like dandelions and cilantro and some kind of roots. However, very often people don't know what they crave. And most often people don't know what they crave. They just are suffering from this craving and they don't have no idea what they want. Did it ever happen to you? That you crave something? Our brain is complicated. It has analytical part, and it also has a reactive brain, which is like on a level of impulses, level of instincts, like reflexes. So this reactive brain memorized that the food comes from the fridge. And when you crave something, and you cannot figure out what you want, so this reactive brain sends you the urge to go and check in the fridge. Well, that's where food comes from, and then we begin to fall, just like dogs, when you feed them from the same shelf, they keep barking on that shelf. So we keep going to the fridge and open, and we're searching and searching for something there. We don't know what. If you stop and say, hey, what do you search for? You don't know. As if you don't know what is there, as if you were not the one who put it there. Our children do the same thing. And we tell them, hey, stop defrosting the fridge. Go play, you just ate, you're not hungry. But they keep going and just looking for something. Have you noticed that? We have not been properly educated, introduced to the foods. If we were educated properly, then our parents will begin to introduce the best foods to us, the whole variety, just when our teeth are well developed, which is age of 3 and 4. They will begin to introduce to us 12 or more kinds of seeds, including pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, different seeds, quinoa and stuff, and 18 different kinds of nuts, not only almonds and walnuts, but hazelnuts, Brazil nuts, and macadamia, all kinds of nuts, 200 or more different vegetables, and 300 or more different fruits. Unfortunately, we introduced to our children 200 different candy, 25 kinds of cereal, and 15 kinds of bubble gum, and 3 kinds of pizza or more, but not the right things. So how do do we introduce those things to our children? We take, for example, little Elaine was 3 years old, and mother comes to her and says, Elaine, give me your little palm. Yeah, and I put in her palm 5 pumpkin seeds, and they're raw, and I say, hey baby, eat them, chew them thoroughly, and they're not roasted and salted, they're raw, and I prefer that Elaine stays hungry at that time, that she was hungry, and then she will chew those pumpkin seeds, and what will happen? Her brain will process the information. Hey, we got very high quality zinc from that source, and in her memory, in her basic memory, there will be this connection: pumpkin seeds, zinc, and then she will never have bristle nails in her whole life. Whenever she'll need zinc, she'll look at her green wallpaper and it'll look like pumpkins to her. She'll go to the store, and from the corner of her eye she'll see that something is flashing at her. Oh, what is that in the corner? Oh, pumpkin seeds. Oh, I would love some pumpkin seeds. That will be completely intuitive. And they will say, well, it's not on sale, maybe you wait a month. She says, no, I want it now, no matter what it costs. And then you would always know exactly what you need to eat. That's how animals introduce the food to the cubs, to the little ones in the wilderness. At the proper time, when they're hungry, they introduce different variety. When you will have all this rainbow of different elements available and memory of it in your head, then you can survive anywhere in the world. You can go to one country, to another, Africa, India, you can go north, you can go to Iceland, you'll find what to eat everywhere. We started to do this later. Like my children, they did it when they were 8 and 9, and I started to do it when I was already in my 40s. And it took me years, maybe 2-3 years, before I was able to tell exactly what I need to eat. Today I know exactly what I need. Like yesterday I craved 2 kinds of sprouts, sunflower sprouts and buckwheat sprouts. And I was so lucky when I came to Super Sprouts yesterday, because I just put away all the shame, and I just told to the owner, I say, I would like some sprouts, because I've just been craving them for 2 days. And they gave me sprouts, and on the way back home I was munching them, and they were delicious. And I always know exactly what I want. When I want strawberries, I will go and I get myself strawberries. And another thing I noticed, if I eat what I crave, I eat a lot less. If I crave raspberries, I'll eat this box of raspberries, and that will satisfy me for a day. If I eat what I'm not craving, I'll eat and eat and eat and eat, and still I'll feel hungry, not satisfied. And the same with my husband. And I noticed that we all crave different things. For example, Sergey, he loves bean sprout mix. He would eat it like every other day, almost around the year. It's something he needs there, he can use there. He could just eat it plain. He doesn't put anything on it. He just puts them, and then he says, oh, why is that so good? I don't like bean sprouts. You can pay me money and say eat, and I won't eat them. Valia, she doesn't love bean sprouts much. She'll look at him like kind of, he makes it look so tasty, but she'll try them. No. She eats something else. She likes bitter stuff. Like I like bitter stuff. She likes endive and escarole and frizzy. When you will introduce yourself to 100 different vegetables, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or radicchio is another bitter. And that serves us. I will tell you one story. When 2 winters ago, Sergey broke his clavicle. Of course, I was teaching 600 miles away in Seattle. And he landed on his clavicle on a marble, sharp rock covered with puffy snow, and he just was, and his shoulder suddenly became here. And he said the first thing he wanted, he said, suddenly my lips became so dry, and I wanted wheatgrass juice.